I'm going to tell you a story about the beginning of Anime Improv at Animethon. It was the year 2000, Animethon 7. It was a very important Animethon for a number of reasons, but it was very important to me personally because something happened there that led to the very first Anime Improv panel being held at Animethon 8 the following year, and which ultimately led to the creation of the 404s, which itself led to the 10-year legacy of the 404s that we're celebrating this year, alongside the 20-year anniversary of Animethon itself. In summer 2000, Animethon 7 was going to be hosting its very first cosplay event. We'd had cosplayers a year or 2 years beforehand just walking around the hallways, but there wasn't anything organized. And it was Animethon 7 that I pushed for and received permission to actually hold the very first cosplay contest at Animethon. It was a relatively small event. A lot of the execs at the time didn't believe in it, but it was something that was really popular at other conventions, and we really wanted to try something different. It was very important too because that summer there was an exchange student in from Montreal who had been to Anime North, the big convention in Toronto, and who had seen the cosplay there. And so I prevailed upon her and her expertise to help those of us who were working on it to organize the actual cosplay contest. It was really fun. We were expecting, 8 or 10 entries, but we ended up with 27. And we squished ourselves into room 6-152. It was an 80-person classroom, but it was packed to the gills. And that's not even counting all the actual cosplayers who had to stand in the hallway waiting their turn to do their skit. It was great. And eventually, it came time when all the cosplayers had gone through, that the judges, including this exchange student from Montreal, went away to deliberate, to find out who the winners are going to be. And they left me as the host to entertain the 80-plus people, because there were a whole bunch of people lined up at the back of the room. It was left up to me to entertain them. So what did I do? I did improv. Why not? That was what I did. We hadn't done improv at Animethon before. We'd done some, quick and easy improv games at BACA, the anime club at U of A, but nothing organized. But we had time to kill, so I got the actual cosplay contestants to do some very simple improv games, questions only, switching up genres and so forth. And it was during a scene with some Sailor Moon cosplayers. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they were doing a scene together, and I told them to do it in a certain way, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was just the two of them fighting or arguing back and forth. So just off the side, I actually grabbed the rose from a Tuxedo Mask cosplayer, and I just tossed it in the way that in Sailor Moon it lands in the middle of the fight or whatever at the end of the episode and at the climax, and it just landed there and fell over, and the two Sailor Moon cosplayers and everyone in the room just stopped. The action just stopped and there was nothing there. And then the whole place erupted in cheers and applause, and everyone just went, wow. That was live theater where there hadn't been any expected besides the cosplay skits, and it was just a magic moment. And while I'd done improv stuff at the Anime Club beforehand, we hadn't really done it here yet. And it was really at that moment, I think, that I realized that we can actually do an anime improv panel, an anime improv show at a convention like Animethon. Eventually the cosplay ended, of course. Everyone came back in, and we kept on going with the contest. It was great, but that seed really started, and it grew. And it was the next year, at Animethon 8, that we finally did the very first Anime Improv panel. 2 years after that, at Animethon 10, we relaunched ourselves as the 404s, and we haven't stopped since. But that was really where it started. And the best part of it is, I think, is that beyond the improv thing, is that I was able to share that genesis, that beginning of the Anime Improv with that exchange student from Montreal. Because up until that point, as an anime fan, I was very much a lone fan, a lone otaku, the single Gundam pilot, right? The one who took everything on himself with the help of his fellow pilots and so on, but the one who hadn't won the day yet, who hadn't won the girl. But it was really great because it was there at Animethon 7 that exchange student and I really got along. And now, she's my wife and the mother of my very beautiful daughter. And that's my Animethon memory, guys. See ya.